Hi, today I'm gonna show you a new underwater camera I purchased for the turtle pond. I had to replace the old camera. It was a Titathink camera, but stay away from those products since Titathink stopped offering support for them and the apps no longer work. So I searched the internet for some good underwater pond cameras, and unfortunately the list is very short. I finally managed to locate some good sturdy cameras with excellent image quality, namely Barlus cameras, and I opted for a wide lens camera. So let's see what's inside. Basic instructions manual. So this is an IP camera. It is not a wireless IP camera, so I had to install a range extensor for my Wi-Fi network near the pond, and from there I installed the cable to the pond. I will show you a little bit later. So we have here some screws in case you want to mount it on some sort of support. There's a basic 12-volt charger, the jacks for the cable and the charger, a stick with some software on it, a sturdy 10-meter long cable, and of course the quite frankly heavy camera, much bigger than my old camera. So this is it. The casing, the support, everything is made of stainless steel, very sturdy. The nice thing about this camera is that it's got 4 LEDs with white lights, so you can use regular light at night to see what's going on underwater, and 3 infrared lights, so we can opt for a night mode too. But these won't work very good if the water is particularly murky, like for example full of turtle poo. The camera seems to be well built, so let's get ahead and install it. Okay, so this is the pond where the camera will be mounted. The water is pretty murky, but usually it clears up during the night. It hasn't been cleaned in a while. The turtles are already curious what's going to happen. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I have some cables underground and an internet cable, and the box with all the electric stuff is here. So that's where we need to connect the camera. Okay, let me open up everything. Get the plants out of the way. So I've already got some stuff here. The internet cable, from the range extensor, since I told you that the camera is not wireless IP, so you need to have a physical cable near the place where you want to mount it. Okay. I've also got a smart plug here that I can turn on or off if I want to hard reset the camera if it misbehaves. Okay. So let's unwind the cable, the camera goes to the pond. So this camera is more than just a fancy accessory. Since I'm working with endangered turtles, I really need to keep an eye on them, and sometimes there's a risk of drowning even if they are aquatic turtles, especially when the females have eggs. They sometimes have trouble reaching the surface, so I need to see that and lend a little help if needed. That's why I really wanted to have an underwater phone camera. Power it up. We got power. Everything's okay. We're in the green. So let's fit everything back together. And now to the pond. Alright. Seems to be good. You can see the camera on the bottom there. It rests on a ledge, it's not quite on the bottom, so I have a view of the whole bottom, and I can see if anything's wrong with any of the turtles. So I had to tinker a little bit with the camera because the turtles kept tipping it over. So I installed this base from a plexiglass, just screwed it on. And this side will be placed under a rock on the bottom of the pond. Hopefully it will give it more stability and the turtles will stop tipping it over. Okay, so let's get to the software part. These are the files that are provided with a USB stick. As you can see, it's not really well organized. So this, for example, is the video tutorial that it is recommended to be viewed before you actually install anything. It will tell you what to do, what to install, how to add the camera, so these steps are really welcomed. There's a bunch of Chinese, I think, stuff here. Don't really need that now. The English part of the USB stick, you have a lot of files. Some of them are useful, some of them not. For example, the instructions manual. The software for your PC is somewhere here, and you need this file here. But you can see all of this in the instructions manual. Next I'm going to show you how the interface of the PC software looks and how the app on the mobile phone looks. So this is the camera software. It is pretty well organized. You get the live view, the device manager from which you can add the camera, some more settings here, camera settings of course. You can add your cameras on the map if you have multiple cameras in different locations. You can perform firmware upgrades from here, so there's a lot of settings with which you can play. First, you need to go into the device manager. You got to search for connected cameras on your network. At the moment I only have the one camera, so they're gonna appear here in the list if they are not added. It is worth to see the video tutorial first on the provided software stick. You can add then the camera, and the camera will appear in your list, and you can change the settings. What the video tutorial does not tell you is that you need to actually get the IP from the local IP of your camera from your router settings first. You need to connect to your router and identify there what IP corresponds to your camera. And they tell you that there's a default IP assigned to the camera 192.168.1.10, labeled also on the product, but my router automatically assigned a different IP, so I had to find out what IP belonged to my camera. So this is my camera, I've added it, and now I can actually go into the live view. You can have multiple cameras at the same time. I still haven't managed to find out how to save the settings of one interface. So this is the camera. Let's adjust the video, original view. You can see crystal clear view of the whole bottom of the pond. I recommend these wide angle lens cameras to have a really good view of your entire pond. Regular cameras just won't cover such a great view. At the moment there's not much going on. There's some fish on the background. The turtles are all at the surface enjoying the sun. But the image is really of great quality. Good frames per second, smooth view. Okay, now for the other options of the camera, you need to actually use the built-in zoom settings and buttons. Although the camera does not have these functions, but from these buttons, as you can read in the instructions, you can adjust light settings, infrared settings, intensity, and automatic lights on or off. The presets are assigned to, each one is assigned to a different function of the camera, so you need to read the instructions for the corresponding function, which is kind of confusing. The one you need to remember is that 250 will save your settings. Okay, so let's take a look then at the night view. So it's night now. Let's take a look at the night mode. You can see it's pitch black. We can't see anything at the moment. Let's pull up the menu and play with the light intensity. These are the LEDs that light up the water. If you don't have a lot of animals that stir up the detritus, you will get a much clearer picture than I do. I have various light intensities. This is about the brightest that it gets. okay, you actually have 10 levels of brightness here. Alright, let's see the other modes. So this still the regular lights, only in automatic mode. This is the infrared now. As you can see, even in infrared mode, if you have a lot of detritus, it will interfere with the quality of the picture. You can adjust the intensity of the infrared too. Okay, so that's about it with the quality of the picture at night with lots of animals in the pond. Okay, so this is the app, the XMeEye. You get this interface, you can add the camera on the right top corner, and you get a bunch of settings here. I haven't managed to add the camera without entering the IP manual in this box here. So you got to find out your IP, add your camera, and then you can do the other settings, okay? I've already added the camera here. Unfortunately, because it only works for me with a local IP, I can't actually connect to the camera from outside of the network. For that, you need to set up a VPN with your router or forward some ports. I wouldn't recommend the latter option. Setting up an open VPN on your router is not that difficult. However, it didn't work so smoothly for me, and I'm still setting up the settings, so I can't show that part. Here's the interface. It's a basic interface, actually pretty light with the buttons and menus. I like that. You got a stream, some basic options, HD, SD, stream, depending on your connection on the internet. Then you got the menu with which you can kill the lights, turn them on, adjust light intensity. Just the maximum light setting. Switch on infrared mode. Manual, automatic. So you notice there's some text on the stream on the right lower bottom that tells you, if you read the instructions, what mode the camera is on. So this with the white lights manual, the level, white lights automatic, the level of the lights, that's the numbers that are changing when I set different levels of the light. Now we're in lights manual mode, so it won't automatically switch when there's night. And I really like to keep the lights off during nighttime, to not disturb the fish and the turtles while they are sleeping. So this is it basically. I really don't know of another option to add the camera besides introducing the local IP. I haven't managed to do it otherwise to make it work. I might email the app developer for some further advice regarding this.
because I really need to be able to connect to the camera easily from anywhere outside the network, because that's what I really bought the camera for, to be able to monitor my turtles while I'm not around from anywhere, to see them on the bottom, to see if everything's alright. They are endangered species. I'm working as a rehabilitator for them. They are native species in Romania. Native aquatic turtle species, Emys orbicularis, the European pond turtle. So losing an individual to drowning is really not an option for me, and it's a disaster for the species as a whole. This one, by the way, is an old female. She's been through some fights with a dog, but she's okay now, happily lurking around, checking if there's not some food incoming. Well, that's about it. All in all, I think it's a really great investment. The device is sturdy, well built. Software could be more organized, but in a recent email with Barlus, they confirmed me that they are working on updates for the software, for the firmware, for everything. And most importantly, they are updating their web interface in a browser, because you can't really use it now. It is, if you try to use the web interface, it tells you that it's meant for Internet Explorer, which is no longer supported for a while now. And you need to download really old versions of browsers, which is unacceptable and a huge security risk. So I won't do that. And they really need to update this part so it works with the most recent versions of browsers. But you can still access all the settings in the VMS software for the PC or here on your phone. So thank you for watching and sticking around. Hope you enjoyed the video. You know the drill. Like, subscribe. Bye.